Hello, everyone, and can you survive? Behind me is the Talos tribe, who is gearing up to join us in the Tribal Council area for their very first Tribal Council of the game, which is Tribal Council number 2. So let's go ahead and head on into the Tribal Council area as we wait for them to arrive.
Talos, come on into Tribal Council.
We have Dave,
Where do you want this?
Fern,
Right up against
Ryan,
the back or that arch.
Andres, Melissa, Jazzy, and Miko, all heading in for the first time. And I think I found where the dead's from here on out, hopefully. Going on in, getting settled for their first Tribal Council of this game.
Talos, welcome to Tribal Council, where one of you will be voted out today. Let's start with yesterday, the amazing race. How was that to start the game? Well, Miko, running the amazing race, that took almost 3 hours to complete. How was that to start, and did that affect how you performed later on in the day?
Well, I lost. So I not only lost that, but I also lost my boat. Fortunately, I was able to gain it back today after we won that. So it was a little discombobulated yesterday, but I think things are settling down now. And yeah, that's all that happened.
After losing your boat, were you a little bit nervous where you would sit, where you would stand with your fellow tribe mates?
Oh yeah, I mean, anytime you don't have your vote, you're powerless. Like, it's an easy person to pick off, and I'm glad I have it back.
So Fern, let's talk about last night. I think the temperature got down to 38 degrees. Did your tribe keep the fire going all night? Did you sleep? Did you get some rest?
Yeah, all the above. Melissa couldn't sleep at first, so she did a really good job tending the fire, and so did Jazzy. So thank you both. We were able to keep it going all night. It was freezing. Miko and I zipped our sleeping bags together, so that helped a bit. But we did a really good job. Like when we cleared it out earlier, we collected a bunch of wood. So we almost ran out of it through the night, but we didn't. So we had enough. We had a tarp, we had food, we had rice. Our morale was pretty high. It was nice.
That's good. That's good to hear. I mean, you guys look like you're at least a little bit excited to be here at Tribal. A lot of smiles here.
Excited. I don't know if excited is the right word.
Yeah, for sure. So Dave, let's talk about the hunting party twist. When you started yesterday with your two other people in the amazing race, did you think that you would be on separate tribes? What was going through your head when you first got teamed up?
I did not know if it would become part of the game later on. I will say I've never watched an episode of The Amazing Race, and I was told one of Bergen, who was on my tribe for The Amazing Race, was actually on The Amazing Race. I didn't recognize it, didn't appreciate that I was playing with a celebrity. Now I'm kind of starstruck. So I'll talk to him after the game. But I didn't think much about the three would affect the game later on, but it looks like it will.
Yeah. And Jazzy, does that affect how you vote now? With this trio twist, with the hunting party twist, does it affect how you vote right now, in your long-term game?
No, not at all. I have faith that Talos can win out the next challenges, or at least I'm staying positive in that. Unfortunately, we missed one because we really wanted to stay 7 strong. Unfortunately, we're going to be 6 strong, and I'm okay with that. I'll worry about the other stuff later and see how things pan out. Right now, I'm focusing on the minute.
Yeah, Talos strong, going into challenges. Nice. Yeah, very nice. Let's talk about that last challenge. Brian, what did you have to drink, and was it good?
I had Moxie and baked beans. I'm actually a big fan of a baked bean, so I was okay. Like, I feel like a sugary drink inside baked beans is just more baked beans, so it was okay. My speed was my problem, but I got it. It was all in my mouth before I lost.
Right.
So I've always said that.
Melissa, what about you? How was that last challenge? That was some pretty nasty stuff that was in that in those cups.
Yeah, I sat out of that challenge because I can't even watch people do stuff like that. That is disgusting, and I absolutely hate those challenges. And I'm glad we're past it at this point.
Andres, how are you feeling right now? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like you're on the chopping block here?
I don't know. I'm nervous and anxious. I think few names were like floating around. People during this stage like tend to lie to one another, so you never really know who's telling the truth, and there are blind sides. So
Yeah.
I'm anxious and nervous, for sure.
Okay, so Andres said that there were some names thrown out. Show of hands, whose name has been thrown out there that you know of?
I heard every name, including my own.
Wow. Okay. Looks like all 7 of you have heard your name at least once. This is going to be an interesting tribal.
Yeah.
And another show of hands. Do any of you feel particularly safe right now? So all of you pretty vulnerable. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to say to get one last word in before we start the voting?
I feel like this is going to be a loyalty vote, and I think this is where we're going to prove a little bit of loyalty to one another, and somebody's going to be voted out, and they're going to be shown that maybe people weren't loyal to them, and it could be me, but ultimately I think this is a very important vote for our whole tribe to show unity and show where alliance lines lie and prove loyalty.
From up here, it looks like you're on the same page. I wonder if that will play out in the votes. I think it's time. Let's start with Andres. Go ahead down there and head to the voting booth.
All right, and as Andres walks away, we walk away as well. So this is going to be our time to chat about what we just heard and what I have heard as well. So let me just head on over to our little tea time corner. And here I am. Hello. So excited to hang out with all of you. So again, this is your time and our time to chit chat together. I'll fill you in on everything I've heard. If you guys have questions, throw them in the chat and we can answer them so that you guys know everything that's happening. And oh my God, so much is happening. Jordan says every hand going up is crazy. Yeah, every single person's name being thrown out as a possible choice is crazy. This tribe is quite the mess. So okay, I'm flipping my little notebook and here we are. So this is our, again, Talos Tribal Council consisting of Andres, Brian, Dave, Fern, Jazzy, Melissa, and Miko. And okay, I'm just refreshing because I had 2 of these to do. Okay. All right, so overarching theme of this tribe at this moment seems to be kind of a little bit of a face-off between 2 different groups of 4. There are obviously only 7 people per tribe, and so 4 equals a majority. So on the one side, there is a 4 of potentially Dave, Fern, Miko, and Melissa. And on the other side, there is potentially a 4 of Brian, Andres, Jazzy, and Melissa. So Melissa thinks she's the swing. She is seeing these 2 different sides, and she's like, okay, I'm the one in between these 2 4s. And so she's trying to decide which 4 to side off on. And these 4 sides are kind of coming to a head with a Brian versus Fern situation. Jazzy has noticed that Brian and Fern have maybe been had a little tension, some little fighting. And so I think those 2 sides are very firmly hey, Dave, Fern, Miko, and Melissa potentially going for Brian, whereas again, Brian, Andres, Jazzy, Melissa potentially going for Fern. However, while Melissa is trying to decide who to side with, Melissa and Dave are very, very close to each other. So they seem to be a tight 2. So Melissa, on the one hand, is well, maybe I should swing over with Dave, Miko, and Fern and vote towards Brian. even though Melissa feels like she would actually rather work with Andres, Brian, and Jazzy. However, Melissa thinks that Jazzy is the swing, and Melissa thinks that Jazzy will swing. So they actually, and Jazzy also thinks she is the swing. So Melissa has that correct, but like Melissa's worried Jazzy's swinging, so she is considering also swinging. So it's like a double swing situation, which is fascinating given that Jazzy was like, hey, this is going to show loyalty. So if Jazzy is talking about a game about loyalty to her four of Brian, Andres, Melissa, and Jazzy, it's going to be low-key wild if she then swings on over to like Dave, Fern, Miko, and Melissa. And Jazzy said that she is torn between working with Dave and Brian. So and that's only two people that we've talked about so far. Yeah, so that's fun. Let's see. Let's circle back. So again, Melissa and Dave are a tight two. And Dave thinks that it is Brian, but he's actually just worried it could be him instead. He's worried that like the whole Brian plan is just like a ruse to actually just blindside him. And yeah, let's go to Fern now. So Fern and Brian are kind of on the two sides of this beef. Fern apparently told Andres that the vote was Brian to kind of extend a little, info, even though that wasn't an official for it. Well, then apparently Andres ran straight to Brian and told them that Brian was the target because Brian is a comp threat and is playing really hard. And so they're kind of eyeing Brian for those reasons. They're like thinking 8 steps ahead in this game. They're like, oh, this guy could win. So like, yeah. And so that got back to the 4, including Miko. So Miko found out that Andres told Brian about the Brian plan. I'm not entirely sure who told Miko or how they know, but they know. So then we have Brian as that target, and is somehow pushing that they raise the most money to keep the target off of them. But I think it might be having the opposite effect because they're like, oh, I raised the most, don't vote for me because then you'll just have to vote again and I'll stay. And it's like a whole thing. And Brian, although they do feel secure with Andres, Melissa, and Jazzy, they're worried that Jazzy will flip. Which is interesting because I think Melissa is also considering flipping, and that might be even the one to worry about more. Let me see where else. This is a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. Oh wait. Okay. So back to Andres. Not only did he tell Brian that the vote might be coming their way, Andres actually wants to vote Fern or Miko. So Andres was putting Miko's name out there. Speaking of Miko, Miko is also like loving Melissa and feels like they're a tight twosome. Melissa might not be feeling the same way about that. So there's lots of potential. Devontae goes, why they like this on day 2? Why they like this on their very first tribal council they've ever been to. So crazy. So I love it. There's like 4 different names being thrown out. Oh, because Andres is also apparently a name, which I completely forgot to mention. So literally, as I say, as we saw with the arms, everyone is concerned and they have every right to be. Okay. So we're heading on back. I see Alan with the votes, so we will join him and find out what's about to happen. I'm excited because I have no clue. Well, I have some clue, but okay. All right. And again, I'm gonna stand away from that dead zone for this vote read so that y'all know what's going on.
If anyone has an advantage or an idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Second vote. Brian. That's 3 votes Brian, 2 votes Fern. Next vote. Brian. That is enough. That is 4. Please bring me your torch.
Damn.
Sorry, Brian. We love you.
So Brian, now we reveal if it's time for you to go. Thank you. Bye, guys.
All right, and Brian, you're gonna head on this way with me. We are still on the live, so we're just gonna head on back to the voting booth and get your last thoughts. You can have a few moments to collect yourself. I am so sorry there's a new dead zone, y'all. So I will actually be reconfiguring Tribal again to avoid it for the 3rd time, sorry. All right, so you can set all of your belongings there, get a little comfy. Once you're ready, this is just your time with the viewers to share anything that is on your mind.
Yeah. Great game to my tribe. I think it went really well. Unfortunately, then first one out for the tribe, but otherwise, Camp Kesem is my charity. I'm really proud of the money I raised, and hopefully people will keep sending money their way. It's a camp for children who have cancer within their family, so maybe they have like medical expenses and don't normally get to experiences like that. It's a really fabulous charity. Shout out to all my friends and family watching back home. It's been a wild ride, and hopefully I'll get to fight and get back in. Thank you.
Absolutely, and you know, you're such a pro at this. Question to ask is about the charity, and that was top of mind for you. So I think that really speaks to why you're out here. And despite coming out on day 2, you have had a lot of game that you already sorry. Okay, so I would just love to know maybe one of your things you're most proud of about your time out here.
Well, winning the first, like, the Amazing Race thing was amazing. Like, genuinely, like, so fun, so, like, actually legit. Like, the way that it was just, like, run throughout the whole town. I feel like I got to know everyone. And, like, just coming out and doing this. This is not really something I've done ever, and I'm just proud of myself for doing it. So I had a great time. Like, no hard feelings for the tribe. I'm glad that they seemed unified on the vote, so it's good to know.
All right, and could you share with us maybe one of your favorite moments from your time out here so far?
Oh, I feel like the food challenge, while it was super gross, like, and I didn't want to do it, I felt like it was like very fun. Like, that's something I would never do, never want to do. And I didn't get something too gross. Like, I was happy with what I got. And I would have literally never done that in my life had I not been here. So happy about it.
Amazing. We love the pushing of boundaries.
Yeah.
Incredible little growth moment. All right. So Brian, as you have already said, and as I'm happy to reiterate, this is not the last time we will see you. You are heading on over to the hunting grounds and awaiting your chance to return to this game. So thank you so much, Brian. I'm going to hand you off to your handler, Ale, and he'll take it from here. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining this. This dead zone situation is a work in progress. Thankfully, we do have cell service here, so it's not as much of a Wi-Fi. Sadly, the cell service seems to get a little sleepy. So I will continue to play with that for this very next tribal council, which is happening in 5 minutes. We will adjust that so that you guys can still cut out at the most dramatic moments ever, aka when the votes are read and when we find out if they got the advantage for fundraising or not. Terry wants to know before we go away for 5 minutes, what are the conditions in the hunting ground? So we'll do a little bit of a show and tell later on. We'll get a little camp life in there. But basically the hunting grounds is a giant tent that's set up next to a cute little bench with a scary and not to be climbed in treehouse. So the players do have a nice place to sit in nature, but also kind of shelter a little bit away from the elements, because while they are vulnerable in this game, we do not want them being vulnerable as much to the elements. So that is conditions. They are way nicer than being in the game. So, all right, I see our next tribe already lining up. Again, we'll be back in 5 minutes for for the next tribal council, which will be with Cutler, who has also not attended. So a lot of very exciting stuff to come, because wow, if you thought Talos is insane, just wait till Cutler. All right, see you guys in 5.